Yeah, guys, it's just Pepsi. I just want to clarify that because YouTube gets a bit weird about other stuff being poured on YouTube. So, obviously, if you haven't figured it out, we're talking about Squid Game Season 2. Now, with Squid Game Season 2, I am going to be talking about spoilers. Now, I will save you the whole thing of. I will be mentioning some characters, I'll be mentioning some plot points, but, yeah, if you haven't seen Squid Game Season 2, maybe avoid this video until you watched it, if you intend to watch it. But yeah, other than that, let's have a little drink of Pepsi. And we'll clarify it's Pepsi just because YouTube get weird. But yeah, what a season. I've waited a full month after the fact just to post this review because I didn't want to post it within that 28-day window or whatever, 30-day window between when it released versus when, I wanted to give everyone sufficient time to watch it. What a season. Now, I know some people had some issues with the first two episodes. I know some people were saying the first two episodes were boring. I actually quite enjoyed the first two episodes. As I sweat in this room. Yeah, the first two episodes were actually world building. Although there are some aspects where you're just kind of like, you could see them just trying to draw out a full season, like 7 episodes it was, but you can just see them trying to stretch it out. Like, obviously, the cop looking for the island was a bit stretched out, and I feel like that could have been something where it only took a few episodes. Like, build it a bit more of him having to get the support of the cops, and then, there could have been more put in there. Obviously, we have player 4, 5, 6 going back to the games. He finds his way back in somehow. I won't tell you how, because if you haven't seen it, I will spare you that. But yeah, obviously, people who've watched it knows how he gets back into the games. And yeah, it's an interesting one because he kind of understands what's coming, but not really, because we see at a point in this, and this is going to be a major spoiler. 3, 2, 1. Okay, the front man is playing the games this season. The front man. So, there is a whole thing of like us as the audience are in on he's playing the games and we know who he is. But obviously, player 4, 5, 6 is not aware of that. So that's an interesting thing. Obviously, there's another friend in the game of 4, 5, 6. I forget his name, so sorry if, yeah. Jihong? I'm sure I'm going to butcher that name. But yeah, he has another friend in the games. There's a really good part towards the end of the season where, yeah, you'll have to watch the season. But what a season this was. Like, I know some people had issues, but I quite enjoyed it. I think it was a really good season put together. And those first two episodes, I actually quite enjoyed those first two episodes. You see, forget his name, the guy who gives out the things at the stations. Last Train to Busan, or whatever it is, Train to Busan. That guy, yeah, he's pretty good in this one. Like, you see him playing this, like, psychopathic guy who's, like, goes to the park and stamps on food. You have the option of food, or you have the option of a scratchy or whatever, and, that was kind of interesting. So a lot of world building in this season, I found, and I know we're getting a season 3. So obviously this was building towards season 3. It kind of feels like the Matrix Reloaded compared to what everything was just setting up the third act. Everything in this season felt like it was setting up the next season. Although, if they're setting up a whole other season, why in the world? And another major spoiler. Why in the world why did they kill Thanos? He was the best character in the whole show. You watch him playing Mingle and it's just like, he's doing the wraparound, like, and then it's like, doing the ring, a ring, a ring, ring. Like, I just died laughing at him. Hey, good to see you, bro. Like, he's the best character I've seen on this show so far. And I know people from season 1 were like, oh, there's other great characters in the show, don't get me wrong. But Thanos is like a standout character. He's a definitive character of this show. And I would say he's probably the best character I've seen so far in Squid Game in terms of both seasons. And yeah, I think we're going to get an interesting season 3. I think we're also looking at, yeah, I'm interested to see, like, obviously now Frontman's out of the game, and I think Jian is also 456 knows that, kind of has a feeling that he's behind the mask of the Frontman. But we'll have to wait and see because, yeah, I want to see how season 3 plays out. I feel the cop stuff needs to, he needs to find the island, or it just needs to stop, because this whole search for the island, and then it's not this island, so we'll go to the next one. I don't want season 3 to be like, oh, well, the captain took us to the wrong island, so let's start again. can we just get him to the island so at least we can have like the standoff towards the end of the season of like he's tracking his brother down the front, man, and I want to see that in the next season. But for season 2, lots of world building, lots of understanding. Like obviously you see there is a roulette game of sorts played in the first episode or two, and you see obviously Dion. I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but you see him playing the game with the guy who gives out the tickets at the stations and does the slam thing. I forget what the name of the game's called, but you see him playing that game, and he gets down to the last in terms of chambers, you get down to the last couple of things, and he pulls and it doesn't die. So you see that the guy who was trained the Busan guy, he's kind of... This is going to be such a silly video, by the way. I'm just calling him trained the Busan guy and Thanos. The only one I really memorized the name was Thanos. And Frontman, obviously Frontman. But, you get to that whole point of, like, he knows that it's almost certain, and Jihan's in there like, yeah, you're facing certain death. Will you pull it at me? You could easily just point it at me and it'll be game over for me. But actually he respects it, and like, yeah, well, the game, I will respect the game. I know it's the end, but I know it's gonna happen. And it's like, it's such an interesting episode. And I know people had problems with that episode. But yeah, I felt this was a good season. Squid Game Season 2 was actually quite good. And yeah, if you wanted my review on it, there it is. I'll finish this bit of Pepsi here. Pepsi Max, actually. It's Pepsi Max. I could have got Coke, but I didn't want to get Coke. I just got Pepsi. But yeah, Squid Game Season 2. Worth a watch if you haven't seen it. Yeah. I wish they would put these things out on Blu-ray so I could actually buy Squid Game Season 1 and 2. There's also a couple more things I want from Netflix, like Season 3 or 4 of Stranger Things, Queen's Gambit. There's a lot of things I want on Blu-ray from them, but I know they're probably not going to do it. Anyways, guys, that is my thoughts on Squid Game, and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to check out other videos, I'll put a couple over here, and you might like one, you might not. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.